Boys! My main ball lads, welcome. Essentially, what this is going to be is a quick rundown on how the defensive side of things will work and how most main ball movement works just in general army sense, okay? So some of this will be extremely introductory, some of this will be a little more advanced. We're not gonna get too crazy with anything. We're gonna keep it extremely simple because I don't like overloading people with things to focus on because then you can't focus, right? So, very simple and straightforward. We'll go through the groups. 1 and 2, those are point groups. Those are the people that are like spinning point, facilitating collapses, okay? 3 and 4, this is going to be called weak side because you are on the side with fewer kill squad, okay? So, you weak side, that will be the side with fewer kill squad. We'll talk about that a little bit more. Strong side, you are the side with more kill squad. You'll have 2 kill squad groups on your inside lane. And then group 10 will be in wide fight. You see I've included them typically where they're fighting. So group 10, wide fight just basically does nothing the entire war. They sit over there and like RP. Like wide fight could actually come to a 5v5 agreement to not attack each other and watch the war, and the war changes none. 0% if nobody from wide fight attacks the entire war. No semblance on the war whatsoever. Wide fight is a myth. So anyways, if that's Weaver's map, I've actually seen it go there. My story about wide fight is I was playing it with Ordo one time against Chicken Mans, and I think it was like a wins or a defense or something. But we were out here fighting, and Ordo main ball pushed Chicken Man back to B. Back to B. We were back here fighting. Yo, so Hypno. Hypno. Where's Hypno? So basically, there will be a few different like main things that you're trying to accomplish depending on your Bruiser role, okay? So 1 and 2, you guys are the point group. You guys are trying to generate as much point tick as possible and create inside out pressure. Now, when I say inside out pressure, what I mean is I want you pushing people outward like this. Sorry. Like this. Basically, like you don't chase them off of point, but you're gonna create that off point pressure. Because ideally, what we wanna do is not let them ball up in this area in the middle, and we wanna force them to the outer edges of point, so that way we can catch them like broken off here, 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 or here, or even like this entire spot, or this entire spot. Well, sorry, that was kind of bad. But like this entire spot. So essentially what we wanna do is think of like the quads, right? We want to win the mid lines no matter where we're at, and that's going to divide them and make the collapses easier for us to hit. So with that, we have a couple of responsibilities, okay? Basically, point team, you're spinning all the time. You're sitting point, you're dictating collapses, you're tempoing. And what I mean by tempoing is your uptime, uptime, uptime. Your first priority is stay alive. Your second priority is hit something and get your heart rune up, okay? So then you have our quads. Our quads are going to be here and here. So again, this is a defense perspective. We're looking at it from this angle. So we've got quads yet again. This is going to be top left, group 3, bottom left, group 4. So top weak, bottom weak, because weak side, because you're kill squad. And then you've got strong, top strong, bottom strong. Okay? So keep that in mind. Top, bottom, weak, strong. Very easy. Now, when we're calling collapses, you might hear us say top left, bottom left, one of the quadrants. We're always going to be calling in the direction that we are fighting. So even if you're facing back this way, like if we're the defender, top left is always going to be here. So you don't have to confuse that. So then we have weak side versus strong side. Weak side, your eyes are primarily going to be on point. You want to be stepping point on this half with your point team, and you want to be trying to win this midline here, and you want to try to group up with the quad that's above you. Same thing, the quad that's here, so group 3 and group 4, you guys want to be on this weak side trying to play together and form a 10-man ball. While you're doing that, group 5 and 6, they also want to step point as much as they can, but they have to keep their eyes on this fight a lot more, because this fight is very, very important. We'll get to that in a little bit. But for the most part, like, B is just going to be making sure that your road doesn't get overrun. So like, say you notice if you're a weak side, you're chilling on point here and here. Your group 7 is pushed back to here. Well, that's when group 3 steps down a little bit. Group 4 drops back to here. Group 3 kind of plays solo here. Group 4 helps this push back up to midline. And then you guys step out, shove it up, get positive momentum, and then you're back on point, okay? So a lot of it's going to be like reading that kill squad momentum. Same thing over here on B point. You're looking for this midpoint extended. So over here, if your kill squad starts to get pushed back, the only thing is with this, you're not waiting for it to get like here before you react. The second your kill squad on strong side starts to get pushed back, you want to stop that momentum because you always want this side, your strong side, to be pushing up and into their road. So you want to create that. This comes really, really, really in handy on final point later. Okay. So we've got strong side. We've got weak side. This is B. It's very simple. You're really just making sure that like you maintain this line extended. If anything starts to go past this line, you want to step off and make sure that kill squad doesn't get fucked. The primary thing is we're going to have fire staves and we're going to have healers like in these areas. And the further that our kill squads push up, so say they push up to here, then you guys can step higher and step higher. We can step higher. And if we control all of this, then guess who gets to step here? All of the healers that normally don't get to go on point. So we've got healers, we've got fire staves. And if we're pushed up here, they can step on the bottom edge of point. And we simply have like more tick than everybody else. Like they can't out tick us. So very important stuff to keep in mind. Protecting this pocket that's back there is always going to be super, super important. And the further you push up on point, the better you can tick as an army because you can just fit more people on the point and you kind of impede on the enemy vision, the enemy backline. Okay, so let's say we've lost A and B and we're down to last point here. Okay, so it's going to be the same thing. Same setup, but we're going over here and I'll make C, make C a little larger and we'll just move it over here so we have more space to work. Boop. 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 So, final point. These two are capped. They don't exist anymore. I don't even know if that's a symbol, but that's what it means right now. So, basically, when they are coming over from B to here, we're going to have a few assignments that are going to be set up as well. So, if you are on my bottom side here, you are going to be plugging bottom of bonfire. So bottom's all super slow. Give me a banger. This is fine. So anyways, if you're on bottom, you're going to be trying to plug this like bottom of bonfire is going to be like right in the middle here. If you're one of my top quads, you're going to be trying to plug top of quad, or top of bond. And essentially what we're doing here is we're trying to maintain a wall as an army and like slowly flex the wall back without dying, but we want to like hold even across as much as we can. And then as it pushes back, because we're also going to have like kill squad pushing up during this, right? So kill squad's going to be fighting like more up here during this time. And so the biggest thing is that as an army, especially on defense, we maintain this wall. So if you're a top quad and you look above you and you see your kill squad start getting pushed back, then you're going to start to drop back and we're going to maintain that wall, which means that they're getting pushed back to here. You guys drop back to here. And then you're here to assist the kill squad, and you're also here to make sure that the enemy doesn't get free wrap into our oppo bond, which is where a lot of pressure happens. So on this last point, it's very imperative that this stays clear for us. We'll get a little bit more in depth with that in just a second. But as of right now. We've got top quads. So we talked about when kill squad gets pushed back, you flex up with them. You try to keep that line going, okay? So we'll rotate it back. Top quad's been pushed in. Bottom, what you're trying to do is anchor that line, right? If enemy leaks in through here, that's very bad, right? Same thing if they leak in through here, they get past, so like they're automatically in your road. So you're just trying to jam up this little area, and as people leak in, you just flex back to your area. You just try to slow them down. Like, we're not trying to get kills here, we're just trying to slow them down, be nice and like formidable, okay? So we'll go back to quads here. Again, we've got weak side and strong side. So once again, weak side here is going to be bonfire side. So there'll be bon right here. So this is going to be your weak side. You've got 3 and 4, my weak side quads, top weak, bottom weak. Then you've got strong side, top strong, bottom strong, because you've got the extra kill squad groups out here. Wide fight won't actually be out here. They'll be like over here. So wide fight does have some impact on the war, but basically weak side, it's the same thing as it was on B. It's very simple. You're going to be prioritizing point step, because if bonfire is here, bonfire's here, it's the arrow, like group 7's going to be fighting like here. Oh, let me finish like how stuff will move, and then I'll talk about collapses really quick. We'll do like really intro level. So on this last point, we'll basically have the same setup, okay? So weak side, strong side. So weak side again, if you're bond side here, this is our bonfire. You'll be trying to pressure point as much as you can. If this group 7, your kill squad group over here, starts to get pressured way back, you'll step, you'll help it push back up, and then you'll go back to ticking point once it's pushed up. If you're over here on this strong side, then what you're going to do is you're going to pay a little more attention to this fight. And you want to make sure that your fight is always above midline and pressuring momentum. So basically, like, you still need to be ticking point very heavy, but the second these groups start to get like pushed back below your midline here, you need to immediately step, and you need to just dump abilities on the kill squad groups here and then just get them pushing back. The importance of this for this last point is that the enemy literally has to pressure this, okay? So remember that wall that we were making earlier when we were over here on Bond. We make the wall, we slowly alter the wall goes back, and then we're into our quads, okay? It's the same thing right here. Once these groups start pushing forward, we start making a wall. We go here, these groups push forward because you are pushing forward, and then the enemy has to go back, and then the enemy's forced to reset and step off point entirely because they have no momentum left. So then we get a second to rebuy cleanse pots, regroup over here, everybody regroups, we go our separate ways for just a sec. And that's like the biggest thing is on strong side, you always want to be having momentum, like pushing out this way, so that way you can help them force a reset. So the second your kill squad groups on strong side start to like get pushed back, be there to help, throw a grab, throw a shock, fight this a little bit, maybe secure a kill or two, and then just like the second they start pushing forward, you're good to hop back on point. Okay? Good on that. So we'll go back and look at collapses real quick as well. Basically, collapses in a nutshell. I'm gonna use like one really large point for this one. Let's see. That's A. I did say a large point. So, in terms of collapses, I fucked up. Large. All right. 6. All right, we're good. In terms of collapses, as a point team, or as like a quad team in general, like a main ball team, we are basically looking to pinch collapses. So I mentioned before that point team is going to be playing inside out, right? So point team is going to be trying to get pressure to spin this way. Meanwhile, our quad teams, they're also going to be trying to force pressure off, right? But once the actual collapse starts, there are a couple ways that we can approach it. the biggest thing is that no matter which quad it's in, because remember, it'll be the quad there, we want to try to box the collapse in. So we want to try to control the entire quad instead of just trying to push all from one direction. Because if we all push from here, say these two groups are sucked in, we all push mid right, and everything comes here, these guys go over here as well, they go over here, then they're just going to walk off in terms of the enemy, right? Like, they just get out of that for free. So in terms of collapses, it's really important to see where it's coming from and know what part of the collapse you have to hit. So we'll use this as where the collapse is. That's actually kind of semi-transparent. We'll use this as where the collapse is supposed to go, okay? So say we call a collapse on top left. We'll have point groups that are going to hit it here. We want 5 to swing over here, 6 to swing here, 3 to step here, 4 to step here. So that way, the entire collapse doesn't really have like a way out. So basically, it looks like this. The big thing about this is with all of these groups, we have ice walls, we have shockwaves, we have grabs, and we completely surround the area that we're collapsing so they can't get out. So now this has nowhere to go. Whereas if we were just coming in from one area, they can just get out. So if the collapse is coming into your quad or any quad, you want to be thinking, how can I box this in? So we'll go through a couple different scenarios. So I play bottom strong a lot. Like, I play bottom quads primarily when I'm not point bruising. So that's like my main. So if I hear that a collapse is bottom right and I'm on this bottom left, bottom right is going to swing here and block the edge of the point, stop them from getting off here. 5, my top right is going to swing this way, play the midline. 1, 2, 3 plays here, make sure that nobody gets out, just kind of like sends the midline here. And then group 4 has a really important spot, because if I just said, oh, I'm going this way, look at the hole that's left. They go there. So group 4 plays the midline, blocks this, boom, 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 boom. Everything is blocked now. So that's the biggest thing about collapses. In terms of like actually how to play them. You want to basically hit, and then you want to get out extremely quickly. So then you have like a collapse on the flag. If we call like an all-in or something, that's basically going to be like, they have a lot here, we're calling all in, we're just going to pick the largest clump and we're going to try to blow it up. And if we call an all in, every single bruiser needs to get like as close to the flag as they can, because all-ins are going to be called when everything is super high tick. So the second we call an all-in, everybody dumps directly on the flag, and then we all just start moving out and pushing out. We all just push out as a unit, and what that does is slowly create more and more space around the flag. It pushes more and more people off point, and it decreases the tick, and then we're all pushed off. And then we win the all-in, because everybody's created the space. So on an all-in, everybody just dumps on the collapse, and then we look at where we can push people off, and then everybody just pushes people off. We just walk and we push people off the point, and we make sure that we're staying alive. Okay? Biggest thing with a collapse, other than like knowing how to play it positionally and the body blocking, is making sure you get the fuck out after you dump your combo, because there will be a recollapse. So we send bottom left, everybody moves, 3 blocks, 1 and 2 hit from inside, 5 blocks, 6 plays midline, 4 blocks, okay? Boom. Everything dies here, right? But anything that's not in here is now going to be looking at us. And look at where our entire main ball is, basically condensed into one quad. So if our abilities go off and we're like, fuck yeah! Good job, buddy. Great. Awesome, Maelstrom. You remember to cleanse yours? I remember to cleanse mine. Goddamn, I think I got 2 kills there. Let me check the leaderboard. You're going to get fucking recollapsed on. So, you dump your combo, okay? And then you just fucking leave. You feel which way the momentum of the collapse is coming. And I mean that in the sense of like, if I'm playing these quads and I'm like having the pressure come towards me, say I'm bottom left and we collapse bottom left, all of the momentum from that is going to be forcing people this way, right? So all 4 of these quads go this way. These quads are going to be declumping this way because that's where a majority of the pressure is coming from. And they're going to push through because you go this way. You don't want to pop a U-turn and go through all of this shit that's now no longer controlled by you. Ni hao. Hi, Graham. Welcome home. You don't want to go through all of this shit that's not controlled by you because that's 75% a point. You want to use all of your momentum to go through this portion of point, which is controlled by you. So you hit the collapse, you all progress through, you declump back around to where you like need to go. So if you're bottom, you hit like one of these, you hit like one of these. Like this is a big thing that a lot of people miss out on. So you declump, you step off, step back on, make sure you live, shit like that. But being ready for the recollapse is huge because even if we kill everything there, this is what kills a lot of lower tier armies. A lot of lower tier armies because they sit in there and they're like, all right, I got a left click. Like if you have an escape directly after your maelstrom ends. Yo, Grim, the 5 gifties, my dog. Thank you. I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. What do you miss? We were just going over like quad assignments and how they play and stuff. Now we're talking about some collapse specific stuff. So yeah, basically like declumping is the most important part of actually collapsing. I would rather have you hit a collapse half-ass and live than big dick all in a collapse and die for it. It's simply not worth the trade. So you hit the collapse as safe as you can without dying. Without dying, okay? I say that a lot. If a collapse is called and you are late and it looks like you're not going to make it, you say, all right, boys, have fun. I'll throw a little shockwave on the edge, and that's all I got. 07 on to the next one. Scoreboard doesn't matter as a bruiser. It simply doesn't. Okay? We need to understand that right off rip. So it really doesn't matter. The biggest thing that matters is you being alive and not throwing your life away to hit a collapse a little bit harder. Okay? So, with that being said, we declump, everything resets. We're good. That's the biggest thing. If we all declump, everything resets, then we're good. As long as we hit collapses and we spread back out, we get back here. Wall vines for VGs. Oh, 100%. If you're a support, you need to be walling the edges of the collapse, not the middle of it. You need to be dropping vines. Like, make sure that you're walling to basically box in the entire collapse. So, that's a lot of like outside fort play, honestly, other than the basics, which are like, if there's a sacred ground, to make sure you're in the sacred ground type shit. Reading the enemy as well is really important because like you saw how much we moved as a point to hit collapses, right? Every enemy main ball is also going to be doing that. Like every single enemy main ball is going to be moving that much for collapses. So if you identify that, and say the entire enemy main ball starts looking at top right, and you're like, oh shit, this isn't very comfortable. I would say step off, get safe, evaluate it, make sure you're not about to get hard shit on, and then step back on. Always better to step off for a second to make sure you live than to try to stay on and then die for 40 seconds, right? So, let's talk fort. Go over not going diagonal. Oh, fair. Yeah, I mean, not going diagonal is huge, but that basically lines in with like body blocking and playing the mid lines too. Because like, if you're not going diagonal like this, then you'll just be playing the mid lines and supporting. So say you're like group 3 and it's bottom right, like 1 and 2 will be here. You essentially want to be like in a spot to support this and like fill the holes. Like, no pun intended. But you kind of just like float in this top half. You play the mid line for people that sneak out. And then essentially like you guys form this line with the collapse in the middle of here. And then you just cook that. Yeah, you don't want to like go fully into it. That's the biggest thing. Like people think that you send the collapse by just dumping everything you have into the middle of it. And really it's like a circle of doom that's like around the area. And it's like the eye of the storm is in the middle where that's actually the safest place to be in 50% of the collapses. So like if quads are here, like you don't want to be like overstepping like crazy, but you can step 1 quad beside you and then kind of like help the collapse from there. But you don't want to be going 2 quads away into the other quad. Yeah, you just want to be playing like the mid lines here. So that's the big thing in my opinion with that. So, in terms of fort, very simple stuff. Very, very, very simple stuff. We transition to fort. 1 and 2 are going to be B gate. Now, it's extremely simple. If you are on the right side of point, you will be right gate. If you're left side of point, you'll be left side. We have anchors and we have flexes. If you are bottom, you are typically going to be the anchor. If you are top, you are typically going to be the flex. I say typically because this could change at any point, okay? We'll go through and clean this up. So basically, for fort, for our main ball, this is what we're going to be set up as. When the enemy pushes in, we're going to try to body block the gate as much as possible, again, without dying. The biggest thing in the entire war that you'll hear me say is without dying. You want to do everything that you can without dying. So, in an ideal world, you're saving grabs until pushes are starting to come, and then you're using those grabs and, like, your group to body block the gates. IGs need to be alternating ice walls on the gates to always have at least one up, but we always want to have that up. And when people start to push in, Bruisers are going to want to step into the gate, but we don't want to step out of the gate. We don't want to step too far. I'll get to that in a second. When we step into the gate, or sorry, when they're stepping in and we step in to block it, we want grabs out and we just want to body block it and kind of like catch them right here. Like let them in just a little bit and just catch them here, and then just let all of your supports just like shoot over you, all of those kill squads shoot over you, get drops, whatever it might be. If we catch them in this general area, it's free because kill squad can drop here, kill their gate, kill their healers. You can then pressure out once you see the kill squad drop, and this is how full gates get wiped. Very, very rarely, unless it's just like an absolute get shit on moment, are you gonna push out here and just bully a gate. It happens, but it's rare. What happens more commonly is you walk out and think of it as a funnel. On the enemy side, right now, this is their LOS. And the second that they start to step into here, this is their LOS. So they have to funnel into this part to support the people that are in. People start going around, and then this is their LOS. And now you'll notice they're in our side of the funnel. And once they're in our side of the funnel, they become condensed and they become very, very submissive and killable in the gate. So you just think of it as two funnels of death. This is what we can see right now if you're inside. When you go outside, this is what your healer can see. If you go outside and run around this corner, then your healer can't see anything because they would have to be out here or up here. Very simple. Don't go into spots where your healer can't see you. Invite them into spots where their healers can't see them. Okay? Very, very simple gate play. That is basically all of gate. You bait them into here, and then they die, or you get baited out here, and you die. Super straightforward. Super straightforward. Same thing. Every single gate works functionally the same. The longer that we can keep 0% tick on the point, again, up here, you'll have your point tick. As long as we are 0% to like 10%, right? Like this, we want to keep them off of point as much as we can and just kind of like delay. Once point starts ticking, like if point is moving, say it's here, and then you look and it's here, we instantly step, okay? We want to be stepping and preventing any point tick as soon as we can. We want to counter that point tick. We want to make sure that there's no point tick, because if we're half tick and something happens, we lose. If we're full tick and something happens, we might be able to save it. Add again. Twitch. Prime. But yeah, so that's like very, very basic gate stuff. It's literally, you just need to think of it as two funnels, right? If you step out into their funnel, you're gonna get lasered. Like, if you step too far forward in gate, everything that they can pump with, all of the fire staves that are over here and everything, those are just going to drop on you. And there'll even be times where, like, in here in the neutral zone, you'll also kind of get dumped on, so you have to be aware. But the second that we can bait them into, like, here or around shops or anything like that, that's when their healers and everything have to push in, and that's when Kill Squad's just going to drop and eat. And Kill Squad eating is the best thing for Kill Squad to eat. It's a part of the daily balanced breakfast. So, we move on. Enemy gets in, and in the event they don't get instantly nuked, okay? I know they're going to because we're going to play gates perfectly. But in the event that they don't get instantly nuked, they start sneaking in. When they start sneaking in, as soon as groups start getting past you, that's when my flexes go. So my flexes will work their way in as soon as there's pressure. Okay, same thing, 1 and 2, my point teams, they're going to be there as soon as there's pressure. Flexes follow. Anchors, your job is to hold the gate basically until it's no longer profitable to do so. The longer that you hold the gate with numbers advantage outside, the better odds we have inside, because you're holding more than 5 people out. We're getting value inside because we have more people on point as a result. So, very simple mathematics there. Your anchors, you're going to want to come in once the gate starts to empty out, once a lot of people go by, and you just kind of like match that push as it goes in. And if you're ever in a spot where you think you're going to die, you just work it to point. Also be listening to your caller. They'll probably call for like anchors in as well. Once we go in, it's the same thing as a point outside. Okay? Everybody panics in fort and they're like, what the fuck do I do? Where do I go? Same exact thing as outside. Same rules. So you've still got your bottom, you've got your top, you've got your left and your right. If you were the anchor, you clear out bottom and you start pushing up. The important thing with being in fort is that if they push in and push us back and we allow them to condense us down here, their respawns, get in, get in, get in. If we are able to push out, what is this? Energizing hearty meals, thank you. If we are able to push out, so this group that starts down here, you don't want to get caught bottom too long, because if you do, you'll get shoved in. As we push out, we push out, we push out. Notice what happens. The enemy naturally gets forced back outside of the fort, and this is another instance of a regroup. So the enemy a lot of the time is going to want to try to collapse either like here if we are getting pushed back, or if we have good agency, they're going to want to try to collapse like here. They'll be a lot more likely to send on like our top side of point if we have good agency. And same thing, it's going to be top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, as long as we're on defense. Okay, so on defense, we play a lot of counter collapses, which means that we won't be sending first. We'll be waiting for them to send. And then as soon as they send, we are going to look to resend directly on top of them and catch the people that are going, look at me, I did it. Yeah, I didn't cleanse. Yay. And so when they are doing that, we drop grabs on them, catch them. They have no defensives. They have no abilities. They just sit there and die. So the thing that allows us to do that is if we are not losing tick. If up at the top, it is completely empty and they have all of their people trying to step point, they have to send to try to kill us to generate tick. Otherwise, they cannot generate point tick. Okay? If you don't generate point tick, you can't win. Then we look forward. In the event that we are losing point tick, say it's here, and then really quickly, we look and it progresses to here. We will probably end up having to collapse first to stall their tick. First, what we'll try to do is have everybody step, and we'll like stall the tick as much as we can, get our quads tucked in. But this is the importance of our main ball being on point all the time, ticking. If you're not ticking, we're going to have to collapse first, and that's bad for business because then we get recollapsed on, and if we lose a recollapse, we lose the war. So, best case scenario, we sit here with 0 point tick. Absolutely none. All of our quads are on point. pushing them off, we're holding the point control, and we're seeing collapses coming before they happen so nobody dies in them. Okay? Very, very, very straightforward. Biggest thing yet again that you'll notice is not dying. Do not die. Don't die. Biggest thing, don't die. Play your life as much as you can. So, we stall tick. If we're stalling tick, we hit recollapses. Recollapses, it's the same thing. We hit the collapse the same way we would outside a fort, and then we get immediately out. Now, when we get out, after a collapse, especially if it's a good collapse, everybody just shoves up. You shove up, like up this way. You shove up this way, you shove up this way, and we shove all of them just outside of B. We kill them, and then we go, all right, out you go. You guys no longer have a numbers advantage, and we shoo them out of the doors, literally. We tell them that they do not have the numbers to kill us, and that their only option is to leave and regroup with their respawns, and then fort's clear, we rebuy, we go next, we set up at gates. Builders can get gates up, all of that good shit. Okay? Any questions at all? Post a clip slightly edited. Oh yeah, 100% will. Any questions whatsoever on this, boys? This is very, very, very simple main ball macro. Raid roster says group 6. Raid roster will be different. This isn't based on our roster. This is just random bullshit that I tossed out. Can you repeat all that again? Yeah, I got you. So, yeah, no, these are just random numbers. If your roster says different, then just go with what your roster says. This is just like all placeholder groups. More to show like what each area does. Yeah. Any questions other than this, boys? Questions, comments, concerns? When do I do what? Who do I do what with? Other than that, there are a few Bruiser basics, okay? Always be in a sacred ground. This is a little less important now because there's no grit ward, but you still get 33% stamina regen the entire time that you're left clicking. Very important for stam up time. Also very important to build Deado or Stone Form, whatever you're using. Okay? Save combo. Now, this is a big one that fucks a lot of people up. What I mean when I say save combo is not sit on a grav well for 3 minutes waiting for a collapse to happen. Use your abilities and get value out of them. But if you see that a collapse is shaping up or your caller says, hey, we're looking to collapse soon, you make sure that you either have Shockwave and AB or grav mail up. One of the two. It doesn't have to be both, but one is ideal. Okay? That's another very big thing. The most important thing of all, though, above all of these big three, is don't die. I'm taking it more serious than I was coming from a D-tier Bruiser. Hey, at least I moved up. At least I'm in the tiers now, baby. Let's go. Let's go. But yeah, this is like one of the biggest things. As long as you are alive, you're going to be able to contribute to point. If you are not alive at all, you can't contribute to point tick. You can't do a single thing. You literally just, you don't exist at all. So yeah, that's pretty much it from like a very superficial macro perspective. It's not like it's not the deepest dive on like here's what exactly you do, but it at least gives you an idea of what's to be expected and where to go. If you guys have any questions, hit me with them. But yeah, that's pretty much it. The biggest thing that people lose sight of is realizing that this point inside fort is just the same as like last point outside or B point outside, right? Like, you for the most part just want to stay in your quad, stay ticking point, and try to like force pressure outward as a quad, and you like go inside and then you try to like pressure them out. It's another big thing that I try to make sure I'm doing a lot is like outside in versus inside out. If you're pushing them outside in, that condenses them on point, can set them up for like more collapses and stuff, but can also fuck them. Inside out is always better. Is there anything else that I can think of? We don't really like go up here or anything too much. If you do, shit's going south. Cleanse your stuff. Keep regens up a lot. Don't stam. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it. See ya.